Hey, how about them tops, son?
All day, SEC boys. SEC, they supposed to be SEC. Jersey all day, baby.
You're listening to the Red Out Podcast.
Hello everyone, and welcome into a Red Out short clip here. This is from our latest episode. Hope you enjoy. Ross, while we're trying to get back on task here, baseball, softball updates.
Okay, we got some good news and some okay news in that department. I think since we ignored the baseball, softball update last week when we went on like a 7-game losing streak, and we were just talking about the conference tournament, but we rebounded last weekend after losing 15-0 to UK and swept UAB to get back to 500. We were at 9-9. Then we lost yesterday to Austin Peay. So 3-0 in the conference. You know, you can't ask for a better start in that regard, because if we can finish in the top 10 in the top 8 in the conference, this season is a success even if we're at 500. So, you know, it sucks that we started 6-2 and now we're 9-10, but you know, with expectations and how big of a dumpster fire the baseball program's been lately, I think, you know, we've got to be okay with where we're at this time.
Speaking of the conference play, Ross, here's a question for you. If the Tops don't make the conference tournament, is it time to find a new coach?
Yes.
Well, that was succinct. You don't care to expand on that?
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, Conference USA
good.
actually is a baseball league. Like Southern Miss, Rice, the Florida schools, they have really good baseball programs year in and year out. But, I mean, last year they were in position to finish in the top 8, and then they lost, like, their last 6. Like, you've got to get it done this year. So now this weekend we travel to FIU, who, like I said, is usually one of the better teams in the conference, makes the tournament every couple years. So, I mean, if they can take 2 out of 3, they kind of show, that they're ready to fight for that tournament bid, which moves the program forward.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think, was it Sunday we talked about it, or last week maybe? Talking about how the Southern schools typically have.
Yeah, it was last week.
Yeah, typically have it better. They do better in baseball season and baseball teams because it's the weather. I mean, it's kind of like it does that with football too.
See, I don't buy that because I live here in Louisville, and Louisville's baseball team went from having less tournament appearances than WKU 15 years ago to being a power. Obviously, Louisville's got more money around it.
I was about to say, I'll give you that.
If you recruit under recruited players like kids from Chicago, Indiana, stuff like that, you can get diamonds in the rough and compete. And I think Western needs to probably, if they do get rid of Pulowski, hire one of those assistants who has a experienced recruiting up there, and see if you tried the former SEC coach, you tried the two, I guess Myers was you tried to keep the continuity pick. Now do an outside pick that replicate what U of L and UK did, and see if you can just ride the Northern players to success.
I mean, I think like 10 years ago we had buku of players going to the farm system, to the major league, whatever. And I don't know, kind of what happened there. I mean, that's just my...
They lost their coach to Old Dominion, and then it went down the dumpster.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, right. Sounds good.
Straight side of me.
So, good news, softball, right?
Yes. So, softball is just rolling right now. After the win, they had a comeback win today against Eastern. I think it was 6-5, and then they swept the Florida FIU this weekend. So, they're sitting pretty. I mean, they're at 19-5 right now. I think that probably is still off to their best start in school history. So, sitting in the 70s in the RPI, which I think that's a big part of that has to do with the schedule. But they play Charlotte. They play Charlotte this weekend, and then they play at UK. I mean, if Kennedy Sullivan can throw her arm, which she's already had a no-hitter, a couple one-hitters. Mm-hmm. If she can shut down UK and U of L over the next 2 weeks, then they might be in position for an at-large. So we'll see. Awesome. I mean, softball is, like I've said before, the one sport that we might actually feel good with after the curse, the 100-year curse or whatever. So
100-year curse. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know which is worse, 100 miles of hate or 100-year curse. I think the 100-year curse.
I'm a full
would get that.
believer in the 100-year curse now. I mean, it's definitely a thing.
Can we sacrifice a virgin on each field, like football field, basketball court?
Good luck finding one on Western's campus.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Zing! I always say, man, I went back. I don't remember what year it was, but I went back for a Thursday night football game, like to open the season, and I've said this before, but I just forget how ratchet Western is. Like, every time I forget, like drunk girls with no shoes. Did I tell you the one where the girl tried to get in a truck with me?
No.
I was leaving at I had to work the next day, so I went back and I left like halfway through the third quarter, so I could get back
At a decent time.
Yeah, and so I was in like the Chestnut Street lot, and I was leaving, and this girl in a black dress walks up to me. I was like, okay, sorority, they're doing something. So she's like running over. Okay, is she alive? So she looks just drunk. So okay, maybe she's fine. But I roll the window down. I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Do you know where the Lenski house is?" And I was like, "Yeah, honey. It's just like literally on the other side over there." And she's like, "Can you take me over there? I'm supposed to meet shit." And I was like, "No, this is a terrible idea." Thank God, her.
Were you dating your now wife at the time?
Oh, I was engaged at the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think
And so
that was a totally terrible idea. So
yeah.
And
I think she didn't get in the car.
And then, but luckily enough, her a little bit sober friend came over and was like, "We're good. Come on, honey." I was like, "Thank you for getting your drunk friend. I was gonna have to call the PD to go pick her up and just be bad." I was like, "Good Lord, this is how terrible things happen. Stop drinking so much, y'all."
Yes.
My only answer to that is sorry for partying.
Yeah.
Sorry for partying.
Yep.
Fair enough.
So, good news, bad news.
Yeah.
So let's talk good news, so we can drown our sorrows in
Yes.
bad news.
Yes.
Good news: the Lady Tops, the most ignored team on campus so far this year, besides softball, I guess.
Hey man, golf makes a strong running for most ignored team.
That's true. Has made it to the WNIT. Yep.
Actually, a proper postseason tournament for the Tops.
Boop, boop. So, all right.
So, fun fact: I actually watched 2 Wet Lady Toppers games while in Frisco, and left generally impressed. I think it was the first Lady Tops games I've been to since 2010. They dominated Old Dominion, and they gave Rice everything they could handle. And I was generally proud of them. I think they returned almost everybody next year, and I think the WNIT, this is a perfect stepping stone for them because you return everybody, you get year 2 of the coach, you get to play at least one more game. I think they can use this to get some momentum next year.
Well, and particularly in Colin's first season, this is like you said, this is a perfect opportunity to build something for next year, to get moving, to get in the right direction, and to kind of dispel some of the bad feelings through different parts of the season. Because this whole season hasn't been all sunshine and daisies like it usually is.
No. I mean, they've had streaks of bad luck, and
tough schedule,
playing Rice. I mean, I don't
Rice
think
is good.
Rice was
good.
kind of the girls' Old Dominion.
That tall girl was like 6'7", Mulkey or whatever that Matt was talking about. She was an absolute beast. Like,
6'9".
I mean, she pretty. The Raneem, the big Egyptian. She shut her down. Like, she couldn't do anything against her. So, I mean, tip their hat to Rice. They're having the season of their life. We'll rebound next year, and let's hopefully make a little run and play 2 or 3 games in the WNIT. So
yeah, I mean, it'd be great if the girls. Now, my question is, guys, you have to pay what, $40,000 to get into the NIT if you get a bid?
No. It's we can get into this debate. It's girls. It's paid for.
Oh, okay.
It's the CBI and CIT you have to pay to get in. And when we get into the guys, we can kind of do a quick debate of whether we should or shouldn't. But yeah, that's another thing to remember about the WNIT is it's 64 teams. So if the NIT was 64, twice the size of the men. If it was 64, WKU would have been in the NIT as well. But we can talk about whether they should or shouldn't here in a second. So
yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah, literally a second. So, Jared, what is your take on the women getting into the WNIT?
I mean, it's definitely good to be able to get some more experience, kind of see what the postseason is like. I mean, same issue with the guys that they had last year getting that good NIT run. I feel like that helped them at times, but I mean, it didn't end up getting the job done this year, but we'll get to that. But I mean, it's definitely good for them to still get some more playing time, go up to Miami of Ohio, I think it is, and take care of business and see how far they can go.
So I completely agree with what everybody's saying. Anytime you have a postseason minus certain instances, it's a good thing. I'd love to have seen the girls actually got to go to the big dance, but, junior prom at WNIT, we'll take it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if they end up beating Miami, Ohio, they could play Morehead State in the next round.
Yeah, I couldn't find the actual...
I found the printable.
That's what I was trying to find, was the printable version, and I couldn't find it. So they could play Morehead?
Yeah,
they could beat Morehead
so
easily.
Morehead plays Ohio State, and they're kind of like linked.
So they're playing Ohio State. Let's be honest.
No. Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying, maybe. There's also, if you look at the matchup right below the Lady Tops, Middle Tennessee is playing IUPUI.
What?
Yeah.
Actually, Morehead State is leading Ohio State 23-21 as we speak.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Boom.
Ross over here talking smack about Morehead.
That crow tastes kind of good.
Yeah. That's a school in Kentucky I don't hate.
Okay, my funniest story with Morehead is when I was younger, I went to a UK game, okay? UK was playing Morehead, and Morehead students were in the parking lot cheering Morehead.
Well, I mean, it's like,
let's go
P.
I know, yeah, but still, it's just like girls and guys and everybody. Of course, teenage me is sitting there giggling because they're going, Morehead, and I was like, yeah, Morehead.
Man, these people are thirsty.
I know, right?
You might as well
Kentucky
embrace
thirst
it.
is real.
What, Ross? I'm sorry.
I said you might as well embrace it.
That's
Exactly.
Right. That's right. That's why I giggle like the Let's Go P. They get it. It's funny.
So the girls have a potential to play Morehead State or Ohio State, and then God knows where. I don't see a bracket.
Could be middle. Could be High Point.
Actually, a middle return could be a really good game.
Yeah, that would be they could have a matchup with middle in round 3.
Okay.
If everybody wins the way they're supposed to.
So they play tomorrow night, and that is. Why did I just scroll away from that?
7 p.m. Eastern time.
7 p.m. Eastern.
At Miami, Ohio.
6 Central at Miami of Ohio. Blah blah blah. Does anybody know where you can watch that game? If you can.
I have no idea.
Okay, just throwing it out there.
Just
So the fans
follow
can
and
hear.
tune in, and I'm sure they'll have it on the radio or something.
Yes.
And if anybody who's listening does know, a schedule of where because it probably won't be. You probably won't get this in time to know this to tell everybody where the game is. But if we win, if you can tell us where the next one is,
Yeah.
If there's TV right, if where the TV rights are going to be and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that'd be
if
great.
there are some, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you probably could listen with the IMG Sports Network or whatever.
Sports Network might
Yeah,
have it.
yeah. I'm sure they'll be able to be there to holler at you. Second round starts March 23rd to the 26th. Quarterfinals is about 7 days later. The semifinals is in April, and then the finals is April 6th.
Yep.
So.
And that one is on CBS Sports Network.
Oh, it is?
So some of these might be televised on CBS Sports Network.
So I am so depressed. I guess I'm just going to have to go buy CBS Sports
We really
Network.
are going to have to.
We're just going to have to because
just let me give you guys my login. Don't waste your money.
Attaboy.
Yes.
But
Yes,
here's the deal.
thanks,
Can we
Ross.
all use it at the same time?
Yeah,
That's the kicker.
that's right. I'll be calling Jake. Jake, get off. I need to see what's going on.
Yes. We'll just all periscope it.
That's what it is, yeah.
Ross quits his knees and you're shaky, bro.
Hope you enjoyed the clip from our latest episode. Subscribe for our weekly Red Out podcast. And always remember, go Tops.